Welcome to the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence, PA Says No More program to commemorate and honor Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We want to honor the victims that we have lost while we celebrate with those who have survived. I'm Peg Durkers, the Executive Director of the Coalition. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month across the nation and, of course, then across the Commonwealth. Today's program is one of literally hundreds across our state, hundreds of community events commemorating Pennsylvania's domestic violence victims and survivors. We encourage all of you watching to say no more to domestic violence and sexual assault by attending a Domestic Violence Awareness Month activity in your community. For a list of these events, please visit our website, www.pcadv.org. Before we start the formal ceremony, let's spend a moment in silence in memory of the victims we honor today. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I'd like to thank several people for making this program possible. They are first and foremost our 60 domestic violence centers across the Commonwealth who provide safety and support to more than 85,000 Pennsylvanians each year. 10 of the programs are represented here today. They are identified by the No More t-shirts they are wearing. As many of you have probably heard through countless news reports, the protracted budget impasse has deeply affected social services. More programs would be with us if it were not for the lack of state funding, which has forced folks to curtail services and staff, and they must remain at home to do what they can to keep our doors open. This is a testament to their commitment, their dedication, their sacrifice. Our advocates continue to provide help, some without being paid. On behalf of these selfless, devoted people, we implore our policymakers to please work through the issues and reach a budget agreement that protects the interests of all Pennsylvanians. But during today's ceremony, representatives of our member programs will be assembling this jigsaw puzzle that you see to my right. The puzzle pieces contain the names of the victims we will be honoring today. The victim names won't always correlate with the area of county or their home county that is being put on the board. We did this on purpose. We wanted to underscore a central theme. A central message of today: domestic violence is not an issue in only one family, or one community, or one county, or even one state in our nation. It is an issue for each and every one of us, and each loss of life is a tragedy for us all. I'd also like to thank the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape and its CEO, Delilah Rumberg, who's with us today. PCAR are our partners in sponsoring Pennsylvania's No More campaign against domestic violence and sexual assault. We launched this public awareness campaign 2 years ago, and we are encouraged by the positive response. This year, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Harrisburg Senators partnered with PCADV to hold domestic violence awareness programs at their respective ballparks. The Pirates and the Phillies also created public service announcements featuring their players and coaches saying no more in an effort to engage good men in this work. To see the videos and for yourself to sign the pledge to end domestic violence and sexual assault in your community, please visit www.pasaysnomore.com. We also want to thank the Office of Victim Service of the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, and the Pennsylvanians victim advocate, Jennifer Storm, who's with us also today. Jennifer is responsible for representing the rights and interests of adult and juvenile crime victims across the Commonwealth. And last, but hardly least, are the honorable members of the Pennsylvania General Assembly. There are at least 17 representatives and senators here with us today who have graciously agreed to lend their time and their name to raise public awareness and to honor victims of domestic violence. Today, they will read the names of domestic violence victims from their home district as well as from other communities. In order of appearance, they are Senator Jay Costa, Allegheny, Representative Mark Rossi, Berks, Senator Judy Schwenk, Berks, Representative Becky Corbin, Chester County, Senator Andy Dinniman, Chester County, Senator Rob Teplitz from Dauphin and Perry, Senator Ryan Ament from Lancaster, Senator Mindy Fee from Lancaster, Senator Mike Fulmer, Lebanon, Dauphin, and York, Representative Eddie Day Pashinsky, Luzerne, Senator Michelle Brooks, Mercer, Crawford, Erie, and Warren counties, Senator John Rafferty, Montgomery, Berks, and Chester, Representative Todd Stevens, Montgomery, Representative Kate Klunk, York, Representative Mike Regan, York and Cumberland County, Representative Kevin Schreiber, York, and Senator Pat Vance, York and Cumberland counties. I would also like to especially recognize Senator Rob Teplitz and Representative Cheryl Delosier for passing resolutions in the Senate and House recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The roll call will begin momentarily, but first, I'd just like to remind us about a few of the realities of domestic violence. While it's true that the number of domestic violence incidents has been trending downward over the past 2 decades, domestic violence is still at epidemic proportions in the United States and as well in Pennsylvania. Each year in the United States, 1,300 people die due to domestic violence homicide. 2 million are injured through attacks. Nearly 2.2 million reach out and call local and national domestic violence hotlines each year. And more than 1.3 million people reach out and access domestic violence services for specific support, safety, and help. Here in Pennsylvania, more than 85,000 Pennsylvanians reach out to a domestic violence center in need of help during their crisis. They seek housing, counseling, transportation, legal assistance, and childcare. Tragically, there are some we could not save. 141 Pennsylvanians died due to domestic violence homicide in 2014. Among the dead were 97 victims and 44 abusers. 52 victims were shot, 16 stabbed, 11 beaten, and 6 strangled. Victims ranged in age from infancy to 92 years old. In 2015, unfortunately, the number of homicides seemed to be on track to reach the same loss of life. Through the first 9 months of this year, we have also experienced 21 cases of domestic violence, murder-suicide, claiming the lives of 44 people. In all but one instance, the murder weapon was a gun. 4 of the murder-suicide incidents occurred in York County, just to our south, claiming 10 lives. Guns were the murder weapon in all 4 cases. Among the York County victims was Barbara Shrum. Barbara was the proud owner and operator of the shop, American Made Gift Shop, in her hometown of Dover. She had a passion for gardening and for helping others. On the night of Friday, May 29th, she was helping her friend, Lori Kepner, retrieve Lori's belongings from the home of her estranged husband, Martin. Before they could leave, Martin returned home, shot them dead, before fatally shooting himself. Barbara left behind 3 children, a son, Matt Arnold of Baltimore, 2 daughters, Alicia Arnold of Harrisburg, and Becky Shrum of Dover. They are with us today. Speaking on behalf of the family is Alicia Arnold. Alicia?
All right. I'm gonna try and get through this without crying, but I can't make any promises. On behalf of my brother Matt and my sister Becky, thank you for being here today and allowing me to share our story. In May of this year, our mother, Barbara Shrum, was fatally shot while helping her friend retrieve belongings from the home of her friend's estranged husband in York County. There is nothing that could ever prepare you for that phone call. My life will always be split into 2 categories, before and after, things I didn't miss and things I will, when I was whole and when I wasn't. It is not in thinking about the big things that I miss her the most, though, like how she won't be at any of our weddings or how she'll never be a grandmother, something she so desperately wanted to be. It is in the little things, like how I still pick up the phone to call her after work, as I always did, or how I'd really like to buy some plants, but without her expertise, they have no chance of living on my knowledge alone. As an adult, you don't realize how much you still need your parents until they're not there. It was bittersweet in the months that followed, finding out how many lives our mom had touched. There were times I hugged complete strangers, and I knew their grief ran almost as deep as my own. She always said her customers were like her second family. It is evident they felt the same way. Everyone had a story, and every story left the person telling it in tears. Kindness was the common theme. It was almost immediate that I felt called to do something. I started a petition to make the lethality assessment program mandatory statewide. For those of you who might not be familiar, the lethality assessment program is a screening tool that helps police officers quickly identify and get help for domestic violence victims who are at greatest risk of being hurt or killed. The Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence has collaborated with more than 130 local police departments in Pennsylvania that are now using the lethality assessment program. It has been saving lives in Maryland for over a decade. More recently, I set in motion Another Dream, a nonprofit to help victims of domestic violence. Very quickly, I learned 2 things. There's an army of kind, passionate people who have been fighting and advocating long before the words domestic violence were ever part of my vocabulary. And this army embraces newcomers, victims, and survivors with open arms. I urge you to join us in this fight so that other families do not have to go through what mine has and what all families affected by domestic violence have, a future forever altered. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. While the domestic violence homicide toll remains unacceptably high in Pennsylvania, it is not hyperbole to say it would be much worse if it were not for the hard work, passion, and compassion of the hundreds of Pennsylvanians who work and volunteer at our 60 domestic violence centers across the state. They are the glue that hold domestic violence services together, especially during these tough, difficult economic times, and we are proud to have them represented here today. The ceremony that you're about to see was initially sponsored by PCADV at last year's Rotunda ceremony. Reading aloud the names of every victim was so poignant and powerful, we decided to continue the tradition this year. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania unlike some states, does not keep a separate list of domestic violence fatalities. So the names you hear today were victims who died from October 2014 to October of this year, that PCADV identified through public accounts and public police reports. The names will be read in alphabetical order according to the county's name. So let's begin. First is Allegheny County, and I invite Leader Costa to begin.
Robert Selman, Christopher Kacher, Harrison Schaefer, Shalela Shaharakan, Darius Williams, Gregory M. Zickfus, Jacqueline Ross, Brittany Green, Manuela Knight.
Johnny M. Branford, Maureen Carr, Robert Wilson, LaRon Howard, Tyree Evans, Gerald Lee Orrock Jr., Samuel Vacante.
Mary Branford, James Zelenko, Donna C., Lamar Gilbert, Mahuanki Figueroa, Olivia Gilbert, Bonnie Ekstrom.
Roxanne Weisler, Scotty McMillan, David Schreiber, Jessica Paget, Malka Wade, Jakina Palmer, Agatha Hall.
Cheryl Stilvonic, Tamel Kenny, Mark Hudson, Valerie Moreau, Nicholas Maruschek, Jacinda Miller, Nicole Schneider.
Shalimar Greenhow, Thad Garrett Gaiman, Tiona Banks, Valerie Crumpton, Deontay Hamilton, Ismael Bonet, Harry Andrachek.
Carly Hall, Monica Lee Miller, Ina Sereda, Kristen McNally, Miguel Feliciano, Robert Blake, Delora Ozen.
Yara Wilson, Stephanie Kilhefner, Stanley Taylor, Sebastian Wallace, Alan Goodrich, Antoine Wilkerson, Mary Ellen Curry.
Stacy Pennington, Allison Vaughn, Amy Anna Sanchez, Kelly Jo Snyder, Noria Kudlach, Andrea Roberts, Alan Jackson.
Gail Monahan, Jennifer Bauer, Maya Ann Grady, Robert Lee Engel, Laura Lynn Hollinshead, Rafael Santiago, Lorraine Patterson.
Deborah Eschweiler, Marie Gresco, William Emmett, J.D. Ray Weed, Ruth Shirey, James Harrison, Barbara Elias.
Indra Sheets, Brianne Francisco, Nicole Peppelman, Christina Pope, Taif Thomas, Priscilla Grover, Paris Hilton.
Joanne Gilbert, Aaron Flick, Nina Flick, Patricia Flick, Patricia Hill, Nicole Hill Stone, Jacqueline Bush.
Samantha Young, Shaquana Graham, Thomas Guercio, Kelly Pendleton, Leanne McDade, Maria Santiago, William D. Williams.
Christopher Pittman, Sharon Williams, Jared Price, Karen Verno, Julie Bottles, Donna Angle, Keisha Northington.
Donna Wilk, Ruby Mercado, Bobby Hetrick, Lisa Ball, Kelly Conklin, Michael Welsh, Melissa Wiley.
Kathy Goodman, Ronald Miller, Camera Johnson, Kathy Hepful, Joseph Martha John, Laurie Kepner, Barbara Shrum.
Thank you, members of the General Assembly, for participating today. We have one final order of business. As you can see, the jigsaw puzzle containing the names of our victims, when completed, will illustrate our No More symbol across Pennsylvania. To us, it is a powerful symbol, and a powerful public declaration that we are all standing together to stand up to say no more to domestic violence and sexual assault in our communities. Here to complete the puzzle is Karen Nordsick, the sister of domestic violence homicide victim Laurie Kepner, joined by Becky Shrum, Barbara Shrum's other daughter. Would you complete the puzzle, please? Thank you, Karen and Becky. And thanks to all of you, men and women, young and old, those of means and those who struggle day to day, of all racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds, who are standing up in your communities to say no more to domestic violence and sexual assault. Together, we can end domestic violence and sexual assault for the next generation. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.